Jaya Radha Kunjavi Hari Gopi Jana Balabha His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Continuing this morning with Canto 10, Chapter 28, Text 16. And this Text 16, we've been hearing about it a lot prior to reading Text 16. but it's the verse in which Krishna takes the cowherds, men, to this Brahma Hradam. Brahma Hradam means a lake, and we'll hear as we go on. Sometimes it says it's literally a lake within the river Jamuna, and in some cases it's also meant to indicate the Brahmajyoti, a lake of Brahman. Radha means lake, so figuratively or literally, it's explained in both ways. And they were immersed, submerged. Magna is the Sanskrit word. They were submerged in this lake, which means they either were immersed in the lake, like a water, or they were immersed in Brahman realization because they wanted to have that realization or experience. And then he udrita, he lifted them out. Either he lifted them out of the lake, or he lifted them out of the Brahman realization to realization of Vaikuntha. And they saw that lokam, that planet, same planet where Akrura saw what he saw. Now the final word in the verse is pura. We're discussing 10:28:16. So para means previously, and we'll read several times. How do we understand previously? Because this event, the event of Akrura seeing what he saw in the river Jamuna lake, happened chronologically later than this event is chronologically earlier, because Akrura is taking Krishna out of Vrindavan. This is in Vrindavan pastime. So the answer is, when Shukadeva Goswami is explaining this to Maharaj Parikshit, it's past tense. Everything happened past tense, and now he's narrating it in the, after those events have taken place. So previously, Akrura saw what he saw. So that's very quick. Here's the BBT translation. The cowherd men were brought by Lord Krishna to the Brahma Hradha, made to submerge in the water and then lifted up. From the same vantage point that Akrura saw the spiritual world, the cowherd men saw the planet of the absolute truth. Purport. The unlimited extension of spiritual light, called Brahmajyoti in the previous text, 15, is compared to a lake called Brahma Hradha. Lord Krishna submerged the cowherd men in that lake, in the sense that he submerged them in the awareness of the impersonal Brahman. But then, as indicated by the word udrita, he lifted them up to a higher understanding, that of the personality of Godhead in his own planet. As clearly stated here, Dadrashur Brahmanolokam, they saw, just as Akrura did, the transcendental abode of the absolute truth. Paragraph. The evolution of consciousness may be briefly summarized as follows. In ordinary consciousness, we perceive and are attracted to the variety of material things. Rising to the first stage of spiritual consciousness, we transcend material variety and focus instead on the undifferentiated one, which lies behind and gives existence to the many. Finally, rising to Krishna consciousness, we find that the absolute spiritual one contains its own eternal variety. In fact, since this world is a mere shadow of the eternal existence, we would expect to find spiritual variety within the one. And indeed we find it, spiritual variety, in the sacred text of Srimad Bhagavatam. Final paragraph. Astute readers may note that the pastime involving Akrura takes place later in the Bhagavatam, after the present affair with the cowherd men. The reason Shukadeva Goswami says Akrura saw Vaikuntha Pura, or previously, is that all these incidents took place many years before the conversation between Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Krishna gave them realization of Brahman, in which there is no particular awareness. Interesting. No particular awareness, as if immersing them in a lake, Radham. Then he pulled them out of that realization by his remarkable powers and let them see Vaikuntha, or Lokam, the planet, Krishna's planet. This is stated in the second canto of Bhagavatam 2.7.31. Now what's 2.7.31? It's as in the first canto, chapter 3, so also the 7th chapter of canto 2, it's a list of incarnations, quick list. And in chapter 7, there are some details of some of the incarnations, including Krishna. And when it speaks of Krishna as an incarnation, it mentions specifically, Vishwanath's translation is, he let them see the Goloka in Vaikuntha. Or here's the BBT translation of 2.7.8 and 0.31, this is Prabhupada's. To the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who are busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day, Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. The word for word is attained, and just going back, when the cowherd men were wondering who is he after this affair with Bruna and Bruna worshipping Krishna, etc. Who is he? He must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What will be our destination after this life? Will we go back to Godhead? Will he show us? The language used there is Brahman, because simple people may understand the spiritual realm as Brahman. It is. It's more than Brahman, but it's Brahman. It's fully spiritual. And then Vaikuntha. So that was their desire. Krishna decided to show them. Paragraph. As the materialist is taken from the lake of matter to realization of Brahman, so the cowherd men were taken from the lake of Brahman realization to realization of Vaikuntha. Krishna delivered them from the dangerous, destructive Sayuja to the blissful Vaikuntha. The realization of Vaikuntha with prema is superior to the realization of happiness of Brahman with no prema. But superior to the realization of happiness in Vaikuntha with prema is realization of happiness in Gokula with prema. To this Vaikuntha previously Akura had gone, or in this Vaikuntha previously Akura saw his Lord. Again, this mention of the word previously indicates that it was previous to the conversation between Shukadev and Parikshit, though in the narrative it occurs later. That is, in a future chapter of this Bhagavatam. Jiva Goswami's commentary. Giving details what they saw is now described. He brought them to that place which is beyond Prakriti, or Brahman, and difficult to enter like a lake, Radham. He immersed them in it, By his power he made them inquire about this condition, and they attained realization of that state. Then he pulled them out. Surpassing the initial general manifestation of spirituality, they then saw the place of Parabrahman in human form, Brahmanat Lokam. Since they were qualified for the manifestation of his special form, revealed through his Swarup Shakti, they saw this directly with their eyes. This was something never experienced before in this manifestation. Akura also saw Vaikuntha Loka. And then commentary goes to these two often repeated verses. They're from 2:9 through 10. This is Brahma has done his penances at the very before creation. Vishnu sees his penances as tapa. Vishnu decides to show Brahma the spiritual world. Something like here, only different but similar. But here's the translation. This is not the BBT translation, but it's the Lord, gratified by his worship, showed Brahma Mahavaikuntha, to which nothing is superior, which is free of suffering, confusion, and fear of offenses, and which is praised by the Devatas, who constantly see the self. In Vaikuntha, there is no Rajas or Tamas, and no Sattva mixed with Rajas and Tamas. There is no influence of time. There is no influence of Maya at all. What to speak of its products, such as material elements. In Vaikuntha, the inhabitants are fully dedicated to the Lord, and are worshipable by the devas, asuras, and devotees. Unquote. It's similar, so it's making reference to something that's similar. Paragraph. Krishna brought them to Brahmahrada, the holy place of Akura, in order to glorify that place, or because of sport. By his order, they went in and came out, and then saw Goloka. They saw Vrindavan as a special place. In that holy place, Akura previously saw Vaikuntha. Special respect is given to this place since it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, the crest jewel of all scriptures. And Sanatana Goswami's commentary. Being raised up by Krishna, they saw their swarups, or spiritual forms. They were completely absorbed. With Krishna as his object, Akura had gone to Brahman previously. This means that Brahman is included within Krishna being his Anksha. This incident shows the Lord's mercy, power, and pervasion in regards to devotees. Paragraph. Krishna brought them to the lake of Brahman, the great reservoir of Brahman, Vaikuntha, having the condensed form of Brahman. Interesting language, huh? Condensed form of Brahman is Vaikuntha. This means he made them have a direct vision of this. They became attached to this vision. They were pulled out by Krishna since it was not desirable, being an obstacle to the rasa of Vrindavan pastimes. Though they were pulled out of this vision, they saw Vaikuntha, full of eternity, knowledge and bliss, the source of Brahman, without transforming Brahman, because by absorption in it, they saw a manifestation of Krishna alone. That's the next verse. But because they played with Krishna and saw Krishna directly, they didn't find this too significant. Even Akrura, who caused suffering by separating them from Krishna, residents of Vrindavan, had seen it by jnana, but the cowherds saw it directly with their eyes. Thus, they were greater. Paragraph. He saw it in some place. I don't know what that sentence means. They, however, bathed in it directly. Later they were lifted out by Krishna. Their eyes showed fear without the flow of the Yamuna. At the lake of Brahman, their eyes were outside of Braja with its special rasa. Krishna removed that vision when they lost taste for it and brought them to his place for play. That's Sanatana Goswami. One more, this is a separate commentary by Vishwanath on this verse. The unlimited spiritual effulgence called the Brahmajyoti in text 15, previous verse, is compared to a lake called Brahmahrada, which actually exists in the river Jamuna. Sri Krishna submerged the cowherd men in that lake literally, and also in the sense that he submerged them in the awareness of the impersonal Brahman. But then, as indicated by the word udrita, uplifting, Krishna lifted them to a higher understanding, that of the personality of Godhead in its own planet, Krishna Loka. This is also stated in 2.7.31, that same verse we referred to, the list of incarnations in Canto 2, Chapter 7. Lokam Vaikuntham Upaneshati Golokam Sma. And Vishwanath translates that as Krishna showed them Gokula, the highest planet in the spiritual sky. BBT translation reads, the Krishna awarded them promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. Paragraph. As the materialist is taken from the lake of matter to the realization of Brahma, so the cowherd men were taken from the lake of Brahman realization to the direct perception of Goloka Vrindavan. Sri Krishna's blissful Prema Dham. The bliss of Krishna Prema in Gokula, far exceeds the paltry love-less happiness in Brahman. And then the last paragraph. The pastime involving Akrura takes place later in the Bhagavatam. The reason Shukadev says Akrura saw Vaikuntha Pura, or previously, is that all these incidents took place many years before the conversation between Shukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. So that's we'll continue with this tomorrow. Not tomorrow, following day, because there won't be a class here tomorrow morning. But when I get to the next destination, we'll continue. There was some earlier discussion. Who's eligible to see what the cowherds saw? This is discussed by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his writings on this text, this section of the Bhagavatam. And the person that's eligible is two things. They have bhakti, and Krishna shows special mercy. That's who can see. And in each of the cases where Krishna showed such things, the eligibility is their bhakti, and the reasoning goes like this from our acharyas. They had eligibility, but they didn't always, when they took a bath in the river Jamuna, saw what they saw. Or Mother Jasoda, when she looked in Krishna's mouth, she didn't always see what she saw. It was her eligibility, and Krishna, recognizing eligibility, showed what he showed. And that's how one can see the uppercut feature, or the manifestations of opulence of the personality of Godhead. Repeatedly, the commentary is making the point that the sweetness existing in Krishna's pastimes on earth, Gokula, the language is used, is even sweeter still than that of Goloka. Goloka is manifesting the abundance of opulence, Aishvarya. There is certainly sweetness there as well, but it's very, very, very special in Vrindavan or Gokula. I'm going to ask you to pause this for just a second, because I'm going to use the bathroom right back.
Are you okay? You want to sit over there?
No,
You can sit over there. We thought you'd sit over there.
okay.
With
We
hand
don't
like
want
that.
to.
Namaste, I had a meeting to go to today, so she didn't make it.
What about the second?
Hare Krishna, how are you?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna, how are you today?
So good to see you.
Yeah, good enough.
Yes, yeah.
Normality of some sort.
No, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
How are you,
Yeah, just sit
Karen?
there.
How are you?
Just got doctor's appointment today.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to Dr. Yama.
Okay.
I will just check it out.
Any?
He bumped on the dashboard.
6 items, which is not the same as the 9 items listed by Rupa Goswami, or listed in the same 7th canto. The processes, no, excuse me, 6th canto, the processes of bhakti. No, 7th canto. Prahlad speaks to his father. The best knowledge he's heard is devotional service, and he lists the processes of bhakti. So in any case, there's a list of 6, and earlier there's a list of 9, same speaker. So that's not essential, this list, that list. It's the process of bhakti. But the process of bhakti has an essence. And what's the essence of the process of bhakti? The essence of the process of bhakti is anukulyena, for the pleasure of Krishna. Whatever we do, it's for the pleasure of Krishna. So whatever we do, like we're doing something right now, we're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and the activity itself is absolutely beneficial, and we're not Paramahamsas yet, probably. So the difference between our experience of what we're doing now and others' experience is a Paramahamsa has captured the essence, that is, it's for the pleasure of Krishna. Like, for example, again and again and again, reference is made when Shukadeva Goswami is speaking what he's speaking. Up. That's up, Max? Okay. When Shukadeva Goswami is speaking, he, from time to time, just becomes overwhelmed with ecstasy and breaks from the flow of the topic and just speaks some great appreciation of the residents of Vrindavan or a particular devotee or things like that. So he's a Paramahamsa, and we're not. So his speaking or Maharaj Parikshit's hearing is a different experience than our speaking and hearing. We're in the sadhana stage, in other words, and they're in the perfection stage. They're in the prema stage. And those that have attained the prema stage, they followed, for the most part, the practices of sadhana. But for us, the eligibility for devotional services, our eagerness to be engaged in service to the Supreme Lord, and the essence of that devotional service is Krishna is to be pleased, Krishna is to be pleased, anukulyena, Krishna anushilanam. And when one has captured the essence, Krishna sees that, and then Krishna reciprocates. Supposing, using Prabhupada's example, supposing we're at 10%, or 40%, or 70%. That's more eligible. It's in the commentary of our acharyas here also. Greater eligibility, but the Paramahamsa has fully captured, or the stage of mature devotional service there's only one thing. What's that? Krishna is to be pleased. And when one has achieved that stage, that's pure devotion. That's Prahlad's teaching, is the teaching of pure devotion. And we follow sadhana bhakti to achieve that stage. But let's be clear what it is that we're doing while we're doing what we're doing. What's the purpose behind it? It's to awaken that attachment of Krishna, love for Krishna. Krishna only is to be pleased. And letting go of other things, managing our lives still in a responsible and conscientious way, but striving internally towards that one goal. And reset, because it's really easy to get distracted by all kinds of things. The good and the bad in the mix. Really easy. Really too easy. We're conditioned. And just like when we, something seems to be okay, I'm on target, then something else comes and we're off target again. And it can be all kinds of things. So the glory of this section of the Bhagavatam that we're reading, it just confirms everything in the other parts of the Bhagavatam. That is the very, very special position of the residents of Vrindavan, the special position of bhakti above the position of Brahman realization, and the special position of the mature stage of bhakti. And the residents of Vrindavan are embodiments of that. And there are the ones to follow. Yadiracharati Shreshtas Tatadevi Terorjana. We want to follow the Shrestha folks. And these are the Parama Shrestha folks. Supremely exemplary personalities. And there's two pictures of who they are. One picture is because of their advancement, or part of their advancement is their humility. And in their humility, they're thinking they're quite ordinary people. That's one of the aspects of humility. So they're thinking of themselves, and they speak that we are sojourning through lifetime after lifetime based on karma and guna from higher existence, lower existence, and here we are in Vrindavan, just simple village people. By some amazing good fortune, Narayana has become the son of Nanda Maharaj. That was like, that window opened a little bit and then closed quickly. So they're thinking of themselves ordinary, they want to know what their destination is going to be. So Krishna shows them, this is your destination. And his destination is their uppercut lila, which ordinarily people with material senses and material consciousness can't perceive at all. And they want to perceive. So he shows. And then the window closes. And it's explained. They just forget everything. Like the comparison is made when you have a dream. And when you have a dream, it seems real. And when you wake up, you can hardly remember the dream. And after some time, you don't remember the dream. It's just so remote. It's just like gone. So Krishna showed what Krishna showed, and the next verse is going to say, in addition to the Goloka, they saw themselves, and they saw Krishna, and they saw the personified Vedas glorifying Krishna, which doesn't happen in Gokula. There's no personified Vedas there standing and glorifying Krishna. It's in the uppercut realm, and so the majesty of Krishna is known. At the same time, these are Vrijbasis, and the eternal pastimes, the unmanifest eternal pastimes, have the same sweetness. But in Gokula, they don't see it. Even if they see it, they don't see it. And they see it and then they forget it. So Gokula is a very special place. Krishna's pastimes in this realm, very special. And this is one of the ways, but there's many other ways. His killing of demons in his Prakat Lila doesn't take place in the Uppercut Lila, and so forth. There's no birth of Krishna in his Uppercut Lila. There's birth of Krishna. And then we were hearing the details of how that birth takes place. not by the normal process of a child being conceived and taking birth. Doesn't happen like that. And anyway, so forth. The birth pastime is very fascinating, and the eligibility of Nanda and Yashoda to have Krishna appear as their son in the way that Krishna appeared as their son is most amazing. Yesterday evening there was some discussion about what Mother Yashoda saw and how she processed what she saw looking in Krishna's mouth. And then the conclusion that she comes to is, whoever he may be, he's my son. And I'm not going to worry about who he may be. He's my son, and I have to take care of him. So her motherly affection is predominating. And the next verse is Maharaj Parikshit asks, wow, these two, Nanda and Yasoda, what austerities have they undergone to achieve this position? And the indirect question is, can a jiva achieve that position? And then there's this whole long discussion that says, without all the detail, no, a jiva cannot achieve that position. They can achieve love like Yasoda and Nanda through the association of Yasoda and Nanda. But they're eternally situated like that. They didn't undergo austerities, they didn't do any tapasya, they're eternally in that quality. Krishna is attracted to such devotion. And to those who develop devotion like they have, that's the sadhana siddha devotees can, in the stage of siddha or perfection, get the association of the nitya siddha devotees and become trained up further, besides siddha, to become qualified for the same kind of love that they have. That was this other. I started to say there's one perception, it's the humility of the Brijbasis. There's another that Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. In Krishna's pastimes, manifest pastimes, there's two categories: the Nitya Siddha devotees and the Sadhana Siddha devotees. And the Sadhana Siddha devotees follow the Nitya Siddha devotees. They're being trained up by them. So it was the Sadhana Siddha devotees that were wondering, we're taking birth after birth, followed by karma and guna, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. What's our next destination? Will Krishna show us his spirit? Will he give us a residence in his spiritual realm? It was the sadhana siddhas that were wondering like that, according to Bhaktivinoda. But either way, their humility or just the sadhana siddhas thinking like that. Krishna is very kind. And so what's our eagerness? And depending upon our eagerness, Krishna knows our eagerness and Krishna will reciprocate with our eagerness. Supposing we want purification, Krishna will reciprocate. And sometimes that purification comes in a way that looks uncomfortable or feels uncomfortable or looks like calamity. It's different than the karma of the living entities. It's the devotees that want purification. So purification can come smoothly, it can come bumpy, it can come however it comes. What's important to us? And it's, even if we don't ask the question, there is something important to us, and Krishna reciprocates. His kindness is always there. even when he kills demons and does what he does. His kindness is always there. He elevates them, frees them from their sinful, and elevates them to a higher position. Krishna is very kind in all circumstances. Okay, so Srimad Bhagavatam. There's one of Sanatana Goswami's books is a series of prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, I don't have it with me right now, but there's 417 prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. 417 prayers. He loved Srimad Bhagavatam because he loved Krishna. Bhagavatam is not different than Krishna. And you send me a note and I'll send you the last like 4 prayers or something like that, and they're celebrated prayers. Very special. So devotees love Srimad Bhagavatam because it gives us access to Krishna. And we're not eligible, but Krishna is merciful and we get access to Krishna through sound vibration, especially hearing from perfected souls, our great acharyas. Shukadeva Goswami speaking at our acharyas, explaining his message in so many ways. It's association with Krishna. It's stimulating our forgotten relationship with Krishna and cleansing at the same time. Shrinvatasva Kata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyan Taksto Hyabhadrani. The abhadras get cleansed, the attraction for Krishna becomes awakened, whatever our position is, covered, whatever it is, all the way up to the Paramahamsa stage. Very wonderful literature. Let's see if there's any discussion.
These books have been translated by Sanatana Goswami, the prayer.
Yes, yeah. My computer has it, all 417, but I'll just send you the 4, okay? It's available.
One question.
Yeah.
Why do we find discrepancies in the devotees like Akrura, who Krishna displayed his, abode and rule and level? Towards the end of his Leela in Bhagavatam, he turns against Krishna.
The microphone is for the purpose of the online people. So I'll just repeat the question so he doesn't have to. How do we understand Akrura got so much mercy and yet he turned against Krishna in Dwaraka? Well, he didn't turn against Krishna in Dwaraka. 2 things. Our acharyas explain when Akrura took Krishna from Vrindavan, the gopis cursed him. As we have to experience separation from Krishna, you'll have to also experience separation from Krishna. So he did. And second is puzzling. But there are puzzles involved in Krishna's pastimes abundantly. He was involved in a conspiracy, not just to steal the Shamataka jewel. That was one thing. But the commentary makes it very clear. He was aware that Satyajit was going to be killed. And the reason is the base reason. He was hurt that Satyajit, Satyabhama's father, Satyajit.
Satyajit.
Yeah. Okay. So Satyabhama's father had alluded at one point in time that his daughter might become a wife of Akrura. And also Kritavarma. So they were both like, let's get him. Which is really base. So how can someone who's so elevated, who got such mercy from Krishna, and even specifically, there's 9 processes of bhakti. We say Akrura achieved perfection by offering prayers, and the prayers were what he said after he saw what he saw. So he's in this very elevated position. Aside from mercy, we can say perfection. And how can a devotee who's perfect do some bad thing like this? And, Krishna gives one answer in Bhagavad Gita. Apichet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadureva samantavya. That verse. If there's durachar, but the person is ananyabhak, bhajate mam ananya, their undivided devotion in normal circumstances, we should overlook the discrepancy. We look at Akrura. So why did something, okay, we'll see him as sadhu, but why did he do what he did? Prompted by, one might say, by Krishna arranged it for his pastimes. And the pastime was, it's not a nice pastime. The father of one of his queens was killed in his sleep. So who knows, why Krishna arranged that? He is liberated by Krishna's arrangement, because that's what Krishna does when someone that he is directly involved with. So anyways, after the Shamantaka jewel was retrieved from Satyajit, they then got a little nervous. Uh-oh, Krishna's going to come to know Satyajit was killed. So the jewel was taken by Akrura to another place, to a place where his father had lived previously before he was in Dwarka. And he worshipped the jewel and became very opulent. And you know that part, right? Yeah, in Kashi. The next chapter is Krishna's people are making rumors about Krishna. Not only he killed Satyajit, but forgetting the names of everybody. But then later when Akrura left, because there's this tiff between Krishna and Akrura being the son of one whose presence brings well-being, no diseases and regularities of everything. So when Akrura is gone, there were irregularities in Dwarka. So Krishna was being criticized. It happens, right? Even in Dwarka it happens. So Krishna knew. So he requested Akrura, please come see me. Do you have the Shamantaka jewel? Yes. So just show it to the royal assembly so they know what was the cause of why there was some disturbance, because the Shamantaka jewel was gone. Now, Krishna isn't dependent upon Shamantaka jewels to make things regular in Dwarka. It's a pastime. So okay, you keep the jewel, and you keep it safe. You don't have to give it to Ugrasena. You keep it, which was different than the instruction to Satyajit, because Akrura is different. So back to your question. It's the curse of the gopis, and somehow the inspiration of Krishna from within the heart of Akrura to do something bad, because otherwise he wouldn't do something bad. for pastime purpose.
He was overcome by human mind. Something that-
Yes. So the Shamataka jewel was taken. Anyway, long story. So it's for Krishna's purposes. Inconceivable potencies doing different things, particularly with his devotees, because Akrura is not, some fellow. He's a great soul. He's a great devotee. Very, very devoted to Krishna, even before seeing what he saw. When Kamsa asked him to go bring Krishna, he said, I'm your minister, and it's my duty to advise you wisely. You're inviting death. But so be it. I want to go see Krishna, so I'll go. But I have to say what I have to say. I'm ready.
From a feelings and from a pure devotee point of view, when you are having him here, a Krishna's pure devotee, and then he turns and becoming villainous.
Well, he didn't turn against Krishna. He didn't turn against Krishna. He wanted the jewel to give, what Krishna wanted, that it should be given to Ugrasena. He wanted the jewel to be given to Ugrasena. So they took the jewel, but then once they had the jewel, it was for Krishna, not against Krishna. But, it was the wrong move. Kill Satraja to get the jewel to give to Krishna. You find some other means, but not that means. No, go steal the jewel in the dead of night when he's asleep, or we don't have to kill him. But they killed him. Or they didn't. It was known that he would be killed. It was part of the plan. Bad. Super bad. Durachar. Sudurachar. No, su means very bad. Durachar and sudurachar. Very bad.
Like when we are children, we are devoted to Krishna, and then we grow up, and we get engaged in material activities, and then forget Krishna. We are taking pleasure in material activities, and then we turn again at Krishna. The devotees, the curse of the gopis,
That's the main thing.
yes, but the curse was so effective in the turning.
Yeah. See, Akrura did, that's another way of saying why he did what he did, by the curse of the gopis. Because otherwise he wouldn't do what he did. By the curse of the gopis. And it was so he had to be separated from Krishna. So he was separated from Krishna. Now how it unfolded, that's the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So you have to say it's also Krishna sanctioned. Not like he arranged, but Krishna sanctioned. So the word of the gopis could be upheld. And it unfolded the way that it unfolded. Anything online? You have the microphone?
There are so many services will be performing like chanting, hearing, preaching, etc. How do I know that Sri Guru and Lord Sri Krishna are pleased with the services?
How you know is Guru Sadhu Shastra. How do you know anything? That's our means of knowing. And there's a very celebrated event. It was to happen twice. one was in Atlanta. All the Radha Damodar buses converged on Atlanta when Prabhupada was visiting Atlanta, and he gave a morning class. And after the morning class, first question, Prabhupada, what will please you the most? And everyone expected him to say, distribute my books. That's not what he said. He said, if you become Krishna conscious, you're pleasing me the most. So, what's pleasing by this and that and the other thing is that you become Krishna conscious. Well, that sounds like a cute answer, but, what pleases you the most, really? No, that's not a cute answer. That's what. So whatever brings about the awakening of our love for Krishna, and there's, it's not a straight line. Kind of wiggles this way and that way. But when that is approached, that's pleasing to Guru and Krishna. Okay?
Thank you, Maharaj. For sadhana siddha devotees, appearing in the material world is not a choice but a consequence. Are the nitya siddha devotees the ones who Krishna sends down for service, who appear as our acharyas or spiritual masters?
Well, the second part, yes, but the first part I didn't follow so well. Could you read the first part again?
Sure. For sadhana siddha devotees, appearing in the material world is not a choice but a consequence.
No. Siddha means perfect. So, siddha personalities don't appear in the world because there's no choice. They're not appearing in the world because of no choice. They're appearing in the world because of their contamination. But that's not a siddha devotee. They have no contamination. So the question is a little mixed up. The preamble of that question is a little mixed up. Go ahead.
Are the nitya siddha devotees the ones who Krishna sends down for service?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Yes.
Next question.
And it doesn't have to be a nitya siddha devotee. It can be a sadhana siddha devotee that is there to give to worldly people the opportunity to achieve through Reika their Krishna consciousness. One can become elevated in Krishna consciousness by and then do that service that's described here. But yes, when nitya siddhas come, that's their function. Prahlad is an example.
Also in Bhagavad Gita 4:9, Krishna says, I'm paraphrasing, that once you go home, you will never come back to the material world. Does this only apply to sadhana siddha devotees, or can sadhana siddha devotees be called down for service, and in that case, are they now considered as nitya siddha devotees so as to not break the word of Krishna?
This sounds like a college question. My question to whoever's asking this question, what does this have to do with your making advancement in spiritual life? Ask questions that are pertinent to that. Now, it's a little complex and convoluted, so I don't know if when one achieves the stage of siddha, however one gets there, they're at the beck and call of Krishna's will. And they can do whatever Krishna wants for Krishna's service. That's what siddha means. That's my answer to that question.
That's all, Maharaj.
That's it. Anything else? Anything? You're good? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.